Going live in 5, 4, 3.
Good afternoon, America. Today we'll be talking about the notorious... Oh, good afternoon, Alfonso.
Good afternoon, Vanessa.
Okay, so members of notorious social group, the Brotherhood Talk Clifton, known as Brother Clifton, passed away today at age 24. Recurrent events within the Harlem community have impacted the narrator's life that have constructed his invisibility. Events like Clifton's death and the funeral and the use of sample dolls led to the discovery of Clifton's manipulation over the African society. Jamar is in Harlem, New York to bring us more information on the latest news. Jamar, what news do you bring to us today?
Brother Todd Clifton's death has had a huge effect on the people in Harlem. The narrator, who was a good friend of Clifton, planned out Clifton's funeral all by himself, which went against the advice of Brother Jack, who advised him not to act alone in doing so. This shows the further manipulation of the Brotherhood to manipulating people in Harlem to being in the predominantly white race community. The narrator's individuality is later presented when he has delay to give a speech, but then he does give the speech to celebrate the life of his good friend Clifton. Brother Jack disapproves, which shows the narrator coming to his own, showing being an individual. After the narrator gives a speech, he feels that he failed on a political scale, but he sees how moved the rest of the people are based on the passion given in his speech about celebrating the life of Clifton. In the end, we find out how strong and independent the narrator actually is. He doesn't listen to the advice given by Brother Jack or the rest of the Brotherhood. He moved the crowd of people to not only on a political scale, but he uses the death of Clifton to show a nonviolent protest led by blacks. Back to you in the studio, Vanessa.
So what you're trying to say is that the funeral brought more of the community to the battle and showed their acts of disapproval in relation to Clifton's death. The narrator brought all of Harlem together to witness the procession. The funeral created a place for people to come express their sorrow for Clifton's death and their realization and anger towards the white community. So Alfonso, tell me how this relates to the narrator's individuality.
The narrator's individuality is later present and questioned when being unable to come up with a speech that the community expects him to give. He ordered everyone to go home, but he later gave a speech celebrating Clifton. Again, he believes that Brother Jack would not approve of this speech, but the narrator continues, showing his strength and individuality. We know that Clifton ultimately gave up on the world of the Brotherhood, but the narrator still believes that the life of Clifton is so worth celebrating. After the narrator presented his speech, he believes that he has failed on a political scale because his message was not put across, but the crowd was still moved by it because it regarded Clifton's death and not the main aims of the Brotherhood.
So we learned a lot about the narrator, and his individuality is brought in. We realize that he has the courage to stand alone and follow his mind, although the Brotherhood is there to witness his every mistake. He doesn't follow Brother Jack's advice, and he ultimately moves a crowd of people in Harlem. His goal is to later again try and move the crowd politically, using Clifton's death and to find a way to do so without sparking violence because the crowd of people he already addressed was already furious. So Alfonso, there has been this rumor going around talking about some sample dolls. What does that mean?
So we automatically start off with the narrator's arrival at Harlem and him recognizing the change in his absence. His hope for the Brotherhood has changed, and when it changes the ideology of the Brotherhood, and that changes Harlem. It's evident that the Brotherhood's popularity is diminished and no longer present in Harlem. The narrator's individuality is then recognized by Barrowhouse, the bar owner, when he later tells them that the narrator is their brother and if they don't like it, they should leave. The narrator leaves the bar and recognizes that there is no sign of Brotherhood activity in Harlem. Then the narrator went to the district offices and realizes that Brother Tar is no longer there, and neither were his belongings. He then orders the remaining members of the district to finish searching for Todd Clifton. After that, he notices after looking through the Brotherhood's papers that the membership has fallen due to the Brotherhood expanding their views internationally rather than helping the daily lives of people in Harlem. A meeting took place and he notices that he wasn't invited by the Brotherhood, and this is a clear incentive that an action was being placed against him.
So what does he do after the meeting?
After buying a new pair of shoes, he notices a boy who runs into a crowd of people that seem to be very entertained. The narrator walks on over and notices a dancing doll on a cardboard and recognizes it being designed to be a sample. Obviously, this represents a grotesque image that shows a black dancer entertaining a white crowd.
Tell us more about this dancing black doll. What does the narrator do about this?
The narrator looks for the man behind the voice of the doll and only comes to the conclusion to realize that it is Todd Clifton. The narrator and Clifton locked eyes and Clifton only smiled. The narrator felt deeply betrayed and then spit on the sample doll. The narrator was bothered because he feels like it was sensible of him to drop out of the Brotherhood and sell sample dolls. Clifton, in a way, portrays the sample doll and entertains the Brotherhood.
So there are tweets going around that there was a boy who gave Clifton signals.
Yeah, the boy you're talking about, that boy whistles again and he sees a police officer come and Clifton leaves right away. Then they ran to Bryant Park, where a police officer wants to fine Clifton for having the street show and Clifton punched him in retaliation, and the police officer, who was white, didn't hesitate and shot him. The narrator leaves the subway and acts delusional and stares down at the people of Harlem from the platform, realizing the amount of people, and then realizes that he doubts the Brotherhood.
Wow, shocking. Oh, Alfonso, I can't thank you enough for coming along on this show and giving your inside scoop on the latest information regarding Clifton's death and the discovery of the sample dolls that were controlled by Clifton.
Oh no, thank you for inviting me onto your show and letting me inform you in America on behalf of this latest news. My condolences really go out to Todd Clifton and his family.
We'll have more information next show. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.